Last month I released my 1-year Speedmaster evaluation video. You might want to watch that just to get caught up, but in a nutshell, it was booked in 5 times for warranty repairs in 1 year, with 1 repair on the fly, as it were. That means my bike spent 3 months out of the 11 I've owned it in for repairs. In the end, the chain and sprockets dissolved with rust after 5,000 miles, which was just 3 winter months. That cost me £350, including labour. The RAC had to be called out once because I was stranded, and I suffered utterly dreadful dealer experience with the infamous Dealer X. Now, I actually produced that video a few weeks before the 1-year date, because I thought the bike was done. I thought all my trolls were over and they'd mended it. Oh, how naive can you be? One thing that's been on my mind since I did that video is Dealer X. Why were they so bad? Motorcycle dealers, they're just retailers. Like all retailers, they depend on customers. If they treat customers badly, they'll end up with no customers and they won't be a retailer anymore. Dealer X has decades of experience, so they can't always be as bad as they were with me. So what went wrong? Now, I've had a lifetime of mental health problems and a subsequent psychological therapy. I've learned that there must be reasons for such behaviour. Now, dealerships, they're just made up of people, human beings. And human beings, well, we behave the way we choose to behave. We react to events. Now, mostly, as a generalisation, we don't want to behave badly. Therefore, a significant event or series of events is usually required before we do react badly. The 1-year evaluation video, it describes a chronological course of events, the events which led Dealer X from being unhelpful to what, to me, felt like being spiteful. And thinking about it, there are 2 pivot points. On the 10th of February, it felt like Dealer X, they were just unhelpful, perhaps to the point of rudeness, but nevertheless, that was what it was. That was on the 10th of February, but by the 14th of March, it felt like they were being actually spiteful. Now, in February, Dealer X charged me £257 for a full service that I didn't request. So between February and March, I complained to Triumph Customer Care again about the service cost, as I didn't believe I should have to pay it. It wasn't my fault the bike was losing oil. And my understanding from those contacts were that Triumph would pay that cost for me and I didn't have to bear it. That's what I'd asked them to do. But by mid-March, Dealer X hated me. So, did Triumph not actually pay for that service, the £257? Instead, did they force Dealer X to take the hit? If so, that would have taken me from being an ordinary customer to being actually toxic as far as Dealer X are concerned. I would be detrimental to their business. Now, I don't know if that's what happened, but looking back, thinking about it, it might well have been the reason. It was such a big change, something significant had to happen. This might be it. I don't know for sure, I'm just guessing. This video, on the other hand, is a 1-year, 1-month evaluation video, wholly different from the previous one. As it happens, 2 or 3 times a year, I meet up with my brother Mike. We go to the Haynes Motor Museum in Sparkford. This year, on the 1st of June, I went out there on my Speedmaster, and when I got there I'd done about 8,350 miles. We decided to check the oil. Now, checking the oil is actually difficult on a Speedmaster. The oil glass is very small under the engine, and whatever position you put the bike, it's always in the shadow of itself. The glass itself is quite small, and I've tried to use a mobile phone filming it and photographing it just to see if there's oil there, but it's very difficult. The torch on a mobile phone, I don't know if it's really powerful enough, and when you can jiggle it about and get it lined up properly, it just reflects itself in the glass. You can't see inside to see if there's oil. and we spent probably 20 minutes trying to understand if there was oil there or not. In the end, we decided there wasn't. I phoned up Bridge Motorcycles in an absolute panic. I spoke to Matt and he said, send me photographs of the oil glass, which I did, and he said, you've got to fill it with 10W40 synthetics straight away, which I did. We went down to the Esso station at Sparkford, bought a litre of whatever it was, 1040 synthetic, 20 quid mind you, 20 quid a litre I'm saying. Went back to the bike, filled it up, it wasn't enough, it didn't even register. We had to go back to the petrol station, spend another 20 quid on another litre of oil and then put that in the bike. In the event, it took about half the second bottle. Over the phone I booked the bike in for warranty claim number 6 for the next week. When I got the bike to Exeter, they replaced the neutral light sensor and the gear sensors. They also said there was a plug in the crankcases that wasn't seated properly. I questioned the oil loss, but they said they couldn't find anything wrong. There were no leaks. By the 9th of June, at 8,758 miles, a new rear tyre was required. I'd taken it back to Bridge. Again, I'd questioned the oil loss, but Matt said, keep an oil log, which I did. On the 22nd of June, I'm back at Bridge again. We're at 9,164 miles, and Bridge put in 400 millilitres of oil. The chief mechanic fella, he stuck his finger in the exhaust, he withdrew it thickly covered with soot, and I asked about the oil. He said, it's burning it. The earliest date for booking it in for warranty claim number 7 was the 17th of July. I did, and the bike was on 10,051 miles at that point, and between then and the 9,000 mile stop I'd filled the bike twice more with oil. So the question is, how much oil has it been using? Well, this is my oil log. It's a spreadsheet. It's very dull. So we'll dress it up a little bit. Ooh, how good does that look? That's what I call a spreadsheet. So, on the 28th of July 2022, the bike has its first service. It's a full service. It should be officially 600 miles, but I couldn't get the bike booked in any quicker. So by the time I did get it in, it was on 789, and I think it was Matt who said it doesn't matter, it's okay, as long as it's below about 800, that'll be okay for the guarantee. So that was fine. On the 20th of October, at 3,300 miles, there were oil leaks, so I'd taken it back to Bridge, and eventually all the engine cases were replaced, so presumably at this point it would have been filled with oil. Then on the 22nd of January this year, at 5,399 miles, I had dreadful starting problems. I was stranded several times, and I had to take it to Dealer X. They put in new shims, a new solenoid, and gave it a full service, and it required 1.2 litres of oil. On the 31st of March 2023, at 6,000 miles, again I was losing oil. I took the bike to Exeter. They replaced the gear and neutral sensors, and they said there was a plug that needed to be relocated in the engine case. It wasn't seated properly, but I was still losing oil. And on the 1st of June, at 8,350 miles, I went to Sparkford to see my brother and found that it needed 1.5 litres of oil to fill up. The next day, 50 miles later, I had to put 100 millilitres of oil in to fill up. The next week, at 8,700 miles, it required 400 millilitres of oil. On the 9th of June, about 50 miles later, I took it back to Bridge and I said it's still losing oil, which they checked but they couldn't find anything, and it needed a new tyre at that point. On the 22nd of June, at 9,100 miles, I'd taken it back to Bridge. It was checked for oil leaks again, but the oil level was low, so they filled it up with 400 millilitres of oil. On the 5th of July, at 9,600 miles, I put in 250 millilitres of oil, and on the 17th of July, at 10,051 miles, it was back at Bridge to have the oil burn investigated. But Bridge said the plugs and the fuel injection system were all fine and they could find no leaks, but it still required 200 millilitres of oil to fill up. So, all this means that in the 13 months I've owned the bike, from the 26th of June 2022 to the 17th of July 2023, It's used 3.8 litres of oil in under 7,000 miles. The bike's been in 7 times for warranty claim repairs, and out of those 13 months, 4 have been in the dealership for work. So I hear you cry, how's the bike today? Well, I have no idea. Today is the 27th of July 2023, 1 year and 1 month to the day after I first took delivery. Bridge came to collect the bike for repair on the 14th of July. Sean phoned me 2 working days later and said they couldn't find any faults. I asked the engine to be stripped down, but he said Triumph wouldn't authorise it. So I complained again to Triumph After Sales, and Carl got the authorisation and he said, "We'll be here to support Bridge. Our technical manager will assist the dealer and we'll get to the bottom of it." So as we speak, the whole engine is being stripped down. But Carl's decisive confidence, it left me feeling very reassured. Now away from all this, my brother Mike, he owns a coach firm in Reading. I asked him, and elsewhere, about acceptable oil loss. I was told, unofficially, the industry standard is that losing a litre of oil for every 1,000 miles is, quote, acceptable. I was horrified with this. Well, I still am. I spoke to Sean at Bridge and he said, well, I wouldn't be happy if my new bike was burning a litre of oil every 1,000 miles. He's right, I'm not happy. Now, I have no idea what Triumph would say about this. I'm just passing on the information as I've received it. So now, I have no bike again. It's July again. It's the best riding weather of the year, and I have no bike. So, watch the next thrilling episode of Chris's Invisible Speedmaster story. Now, before you go, a quick postscript. I've had a lot of comments from the first video. Most of them were very supportive, some were very helpful, most were very nice indeed, but some said things like, "I should sue Triumph," which is very, very silly. Others said that it just shows that all Triumphs are dreadful. This is just plain wrong. But 2 or 3 even said, "I've just ordered a new Triumph and now I'm panicking." Well, my experience with this particular Speedmaster, it has been dreadful, let's be honest, but it's also atypical. Most riders have a great experience, particularly on Speedmasters. You can't judge all Triumphs by my isolated case. And in fact, I found Hinckley to be very supportive and helpful, especially Carl. And Bridge Motorcycles, as the dealership I use now in Exeter, they're also good, especially Scott. His professionalism always impresses me. So, if you have just put down a deposit on a Speedmaster or any Triumph, don't worry about it, you will love it. Once you start getting to ride, it will be a joy. Your experience won't be like mine. Ride safe, boys and girls.